Is again, if you're coming from a place of healing, the last thing you want to do is right where you're starting to feel like you're getting into something and you're like, these are my expectations, and then you roll down the paper. For me to be committed, right? It's more so, it's guidelines for you to say, well, you got your absolutes, you got things that you're willing to compromise on, and then as you guys come in together as a couple, that's things like that could be introduced and then obviously discussed about.
Perfect.
Welcome back to the channel. This is Drunk Words, Drunk Thoughts. I'm your host, Max.
And I'm Ray.
Awesome. So today we're gonna have advice time. We're gonna talk about being prepared for a relationship. So first things first, as a disclaimer, it needs to be something that you want and not a need. Okay? Reason being is because obviously if you come in at a position of a need, you might go into that relationship for the wrong reasons, and it won't be natural.
I think that's perfect because, this will be now the second time we've talked on this in the video, but we have that term like, serial dater or serial monogamous or whatever.
Right.
When you're constantly jumping from a relationship to a relationship because you're not comfortable being without one.
Right.
You're not comfortable being by yourself, you're not comfortable being alone yet, which again is a point we talked about.
Yes.
Kind of leads and segues into what we're saying, which is you need to be comfortable with this being a want versus it being a need.
Right.
So let's jump into the first point, and I'll take that if you don't mind.
Yep, go ahead.
I think it's all about having like a great mindset, and mindset, we're going to break that down. The first one's going to be mental stability. So you need to not be jealous from the very beginning. Now, if you're a jealous person, hopefully you've taken some time from your previous relationship, or maybe you're watching this and you're in a relationship, but it's not the most appealing trait, and it's probably going to be one of the ones that's going to hurt your relationship the most.
Right.
So when we're talking about mental stability, we're not harping on necessarily anybody that might have some sort of disorder like anxiety or depression or anything like that. But you do need to know how your mental state is going to be affected if you're going to enter into a relationship, and kind of what the challenges and tribulations that come with that.
Yeah.
And how it's going to affect everything.
Yeah, basically I think to add a little bit, it's not going to be all roses. So obviously, there's a high of actually going into a relationship, but then you need to be mentally prepared for the flip side, which is there's going to be some hardship, there's going to be some hard conversation that needs to happen in order to grow that relationship into something that you want.
No, 100%. I would also say that it's important to make sure that you're healed mentally from a previous ex or negative relationship or any sort of trauma that you've been through in terms of a relationship. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that if something bad happened to you, you should never be with somebody.
Right.
But what I am saying is that you've allowed enough time for you to move past that and for that scar or that wound to heal.
Yeah.
An example quickly would be if your last partner cheated on you, for example.
Right.
And you feel like you'd have major trust issues, give yourself the time to work on yourself, not in the sense of why did it happen to me, why did I get cheated on, but more in the sense of what can I do to prevent that from ever happening again in a future relationship and in choosing a partner. Is it maybe something like we've talked about in a previous video where, you've kind of allowed yourself to oversee these red flags,
right,
or kind of not see them at all,
right,
because somebody's looking a certain way or providing you with a superficial kind of
gratification,
exactly.
Right. So going into a little bit of a segue, going from mental to time, because obviously you mentioned about letting time heal the wounds that you have from your previous relationship. To add to that point, when it comes to time, obviously we differ in terms of how much time we require in order to heal from those relationships, in order to start another one. But to start off, the most important thing obviously is to give yourself some time to reflect on what happened, what could have been done differently. A big thing too is to just forgive yourself, because you mentioned the fact of a partner cheating, right? at first you might be really angry, well, they cheated, I can't believe that happened, but you might also feel yourself like being guilty because you think, hey, there's some stuff that I haven't seen and I could have maybe left that relationship earlier or whatnot. So it's really important for you to just forgive yourself, because at the end of the day, we're not perfect. Maybe there is some red flags that you overlooked, but as I like to think, those bad situations sometimes, there are wins at the end. Reason why is because you take from them and then you grow. That didn't kill you.
Makes you stronger.
It makes you stronger, right? And the fact that now you have this sort of foundation and then you gave yourself the time to heal. Now, when you get into your next situation, when you're getting interested in a potential partner, you're not bringing that extra baggage of, well, I remember that person said this, or I even remember like the way that person looks, and then now it makes me feel some type of way, kind of like a PDS, like D sort of situation. So time is really, really important.
So, I mean, we're talking about you being prepared for a relationship, right? And right now we've outlined that, you know, you need to have the right mindset. You need to make sure that an appropriate amount of time has gone by. On a time note, just to finish that,
Yes.
I would say that normally you're looking at a minimum of 3 months from a previous relationship so that you're not ever considered to be like in that rebound zone.
Right.
Because it's important for you to now, if this is your crush or somebody that you know you really like or somebody you want to pursue a relationship with, even if it's a friend or whoever, it doesn't matter, that you've allowed enough time to pass, right? I think a lot of times people don't do that.
That's true.
They're over here and they're saying, okay, I can jump from 1 to 1, which we've already stated in the beginning of this video is never the answer.
Yeah.
A rule of thumb, and you're not going to see this anywhere else, so we're going to give it to you. A rule of thumb is minimum 3 months, right? And I would say also for every year, you're adding another month onto that. And this is the minimum. So if you've been with somebody for a year, you would stay single, work on yourself for 4 months before you would go and jump into another relationship. You've allowed enough time, you've allowed enough thought into what went wrong in that relationship, what you could do better, what red flags you've overlooked or you've missed,
Right.
or anything like that. So again, another example, if it's been 2 years, a minimum of now 5 months, now this is on the minimum side. Now, can't stress this point enough, everyone takes different amounts of time
Right.
to heal.
Right.
Some people, yeah, they're ready to go. If they've been in a 2-year relationship, they got out of it, they're ready to go after 3 months. But we're saying, as a word of advice or caution, let's stick to our model, which is 3 months plus 1 month for every year.
Yeah.
Just as a rule of thumb.
Right.
Which brings us to our third point that we feel like. And our third point is you got to put yourself back out there. Now, put yourself back out there, but do it after you've waited the appropriate amount of time. Can't stress that enough.
True.
But as a third point, right? Because we got the first one, this mindset. We got the second one, this time. And the third thing is putting yourself back out there.
Yeah.
So go ahead and touch on that.
As a little disclaimer, and we're stressing this a lot, do not rush this, right? It's after you've been waiting, it's after you're healed from what happened, you give it enough time, you're not bitter about what happened, and you take your time. You just take the time to go out there. Maybe you're more comfortable going out to pubs or going to the library or going into sports or even dating websites. But the point is, you're doing it in a way that it's comfortable to you, right? It's not too much out there. Like all of a sudden, you don't know how to dance. You decide that I want to take classes and whatnot. It will just be weird, right? Because it will look like it's someone that doesn't like what they're doing, and then they're doing it in order to obtain something. And that's the vibe that you will project, and you don't want that.
Yeah. I mean, the way that we're structuring everything, the way that we're doing it is just so that you're ready, and the vibe, like Max said, that you're putting out there is saying just that. That you're ready. If something happens, even if you're not necessarily looking for it, you're in the process of healing, you are healed fully, and you're ready for what's happening next, the next chapter of your life, the next relationship of your life, and you're moving forward by putting yourself out there. You want to make a list of things that are important to you, we'll call these your absolutes, right? You needed a list of absolutes. Okay, your old relationship ended the way it ended, Are there takeaways? 100%, because everything can be viewed as a learning experience, right?
Absolutely.
So use that to build and construct your list of absolutes. Let's say, for instance, now you've decided, okay, I need somebody that loves dogs because I love dogs, my ex didn't love dogs.
Yeah.
Something as simple as that. Or I need somebody that's going to be tidy or want to clean up around the house. Or something even simpler than that, I need somebody that doesn't smoke. That's an absolute for me. I need somebody that doesn't drink. That's an absolute for me. You know?
Sorry.
These are examples. These aren't what I would want, but these are nice examples for you guys at home to kind of take away and use to build your own list.
Yeah.
Right? Now, it can be anything. The only thing I will say, kind of stay away from, because no matter how you flip it or anything like that, it's never going to work out that way, is you can't be in your 20s or in your 30s or even in your 40s and say, well, my next partner is going to be the one, I'm going to find the one, I'm going to get married, we're going to have a family, we're going to do all of that.
Big point.
Now, whether you feel that way or not, you cannot put that on your list of absolutes because it's too much pressure for the person that you're going to be entering in a relationship with,
Absolutely.
fresh, and you don't want to do that.
Yep, that's absolutely, that's a great point actually. Because again, if you're coming from a place of healing, the last thing you want to do is right where you're starting to feel like you're getting into something and you're like, these are my expectations, and then you roll down the paper. For me to be committed, right? It's more so, it's guidelines for you to say, well, you got your absolutes, you got things that you're willing to compromise on, and then as you guys come in together as a couple, that's things like that can be introduced and then obviously discussed about.
Perfect. So to summarize, guys, for you at home, we talked today about preparing yourself for a relationship. What did that include? That included a mindset. That included giving yourself the appropriate amount of time.
Yep.
And it also included putting yourself out there.
Exactly.
Right? Hope you guys found some value in this. Had a couple takeaways. As always, I'm Ray.
This is Max.
And this is Drunk Words, Drunk Thoughts, where we give you the best advice, stories, and we make a couple drinks for you as well. Please don't forget, guys, to leave a comment if maybe there's a trick or a tip that you would love to hear in the future. We'd love to give you some information on it. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe. What do we do to the bell?
We smashed the bell.
We smash that bell. All right, guys, we drop videos every Sunday. Please look out for those, and we're out.
Peace.